My name is Raphael. I'm 34 years old. If you pull up the police report, you will see a timestamp. On the night of October 14th, 2025, I died on the pavement of a damp alleyway. I want to tell you my story. I want to tell it plainly, officer to civilian, because what I saw changes the way you look at the person standing next to you. Before that night, I was a patrol officer for a major precinct in the city. My entire existence was defined by control. My life was built on procedure, on suspicion, on scanning the perimeter for threats. I patrolled streets that were angry and broken. I was good at it. I was efficient. I knew who was lying to me before they even opened their mouths. From the outside, I looked like a model officer. I was fit, sharp, and decorated. I had a wife named Sarah, who worried too much, and a 3-year-old son named Leo. We had a decent house, a pension plan building up, and the respect of the badge. But if I am being honest with you, I was hard. I was a stone wall in my own life. I would come home after a 12-hour shift, but I wouldn't really take off the vest. My brain would still be scanning for day. I would be physically sitting on the couch with my wife, but I was emotionally armed. My mind was replaying the domestic disputes, the fights, the wreckage I saw every day. My passion was holding the line. My family just got the silence, the exhausted remnant of a man who had seen too much. As for faith, as for God, that felt like a fairy tale for people who didn't work the night shift. It wasn't just illogical, it felt insulting. How could there be a loving God when I saw what people did to each other every single night? So I rejected it. I viewed religion as a mental support for the weak, something people use to make themselves feel better about a chaotic world. That night, the night it happened, I was on a solo patrol. It was a Tuesday, unseasonably cold for October. I pulled over a vehicle that matched the description of a robbery suspect. It was in a dark alley behind a row of warehouses. I was running on caffeine and that cynical instinct that tells you everyone is guilty until proven innocent. I felt in control. I remember shining my flashlight into the driver's side window. The glass was tinted dark. I tapped on it, commanding them to roll it down. Then, there was no conversation, just a flash. It was louder than you think, but the impact was dull, like getting hit in the chest with a sledgehammer. The world spun violently. I didn't feel the sting immediately, I just felt the air leave me. I fell backward, hitting the wet asphalt hard. My hand went to my radio, but my fingers wouldn't work. The sky above the alley was a muddy orange from the city lights. I tried to breathe, but my chest was full of fluid. The last thing I remember was the red and blue lights of my cruiser reflecting off a puddle of water next to my head. I thought of Leo. I remembered the way he cried when I left for work that evening, holding onto my leg. Then the siren noise faded into a long, high-pitched ring and everything went black. But the blackness didn't last. It wasn't the end. It was more like a heavy coat falling off my shoulders. The static of the radio was gone. The siren ceased. The cold dampness of the alley vanished. It was all replaced by a vast, warm silence. I wasn't in pain. I wasn't angry. I just was. And then I realized I was standing. I was hovering about 20 feet in the air, looking down. I saw my body. I saw myself lying sprawled on the concrete, my uniform dark with blood. I saw my partner, who must have just arrived, sprinting toward my body, screaming into his radio. It was strange, but I wasn't traumatized. It was like watching body cam footage. It felt like that body was just a uniform I had returned to the locker. I saw the scene from this new perspective. The crime scene tape, the gathering crowd. From up there, the chaos looked so organized. It looked temporary. I felt a gentle wind. It wasn't blowing against my skin, it was blowing through me. I turned away from the street. The alleyway dissolved. The brick walls turned into mist. Suddenly, I was walking. The asphalt was gone, replaced by a dirt road. It was twilight, that perfect golden hour right before the sun sets. To my left and right were fields of tall, golden wheat swaying in a breeze I couldn't feel but could hear. It was peaceful. It was the kind of quiet I had been chasing my entire career but could never find in the city. The road stretched on, and I knew I had to walk it. I felt no fear. The cynicism that had coated my heart for a decade was gone. I felt light. Then down the road, I saw a figure. It was a man walking toward me. He wasn't floating. He was walking, kicking up small clouds of dust with his sandals. As he got closer, I saw he was wearing simple, rough clothes like a traveler. He looked tired but not exhausted, more like he'd been working a long day in the fields. I stopped. He stopped a few feet from me. He looked normal. He didn't have a halo. He had dirt on the hem of his robe, but when he looked up, my knees almost buckled. It was him. It was Jesus. His face was rugged, weathered by the sun, but his eyes, they were ancient. They held a sorrow that was deeper than the ocean and a joy that was brighter than the sun. Standing near him, I felt a sensation I hadn't felt since I was a child. I felt safe. Totally, completely safe. The armor I wore, the emotional walls I built, they shattered just being in his shadow. "You have carried a heavy shield, Raphael," he said. His voice was raspy and warm, like a father speaking by a campfire. He wasn't preaching, he was stating a fact. He stepped closer. "Law, order, justice. You tried to build a world with these." I looked at my hands, they were trembling. "I tried to protect people," I stammered. My voice sounded small in the open field. "I saw so much evil. I had to be hard, and I had to be tough." He smiled, and it wasn't a patronizing smile. It was a smile of shared pain. "I know, I have seen the evil too. I felt it all." He reached out and took my hand. His grip was calloused and strong. "But come, let me show you what the hardness did." He didn't snap his fingers. We just shifted. We were no longer on the road. We were standing in a living room. It was my living room. I saw myself from a year ago. I was sitting at the dinner table. Sarah was trying to tell me about her day. Leo was banging his spoon on the high chair. In the vision, I saw my own face. It was stone. My eyes were dead. I looked at my wife, but I didn't see her. I saw a civilian. I saw someone who didn't understand the real world. Then Jesus touched my eyes, and I saw the spiritual reality. I saw a thick gray wall built up around my heart. It looked like concrete. Sarah was sending little waves of love toward me, pink, soft light, but they smashed against the concrete wall and dissolved. I saw the effect it had on her. Her spirit was shrinking. She felt judged. She felt unsafe, not because of a criminal, but because of me. "You thought you were the protector," Jesus said softly, standing beside me. "But you became the judge. You brought the street into your home. You treated your family like suspects." I felt a tear run down my face. I wanted to look away, but the scene changed. We were now standing on a busy street corner in the city. It was a protest. People were screaming. On one side were the police in riot gear, on the other were angry citizens. I saw the hate. It wasn't just noise. It was a black, oily smoke rising from the crowd. "Look closer," Jesus whispered. I looked at the people. I saw their hearts. They were all bleeding. Everyone was wounded. The officer behind the shield was scared he wouldn't make it home. The kid throwing the bottle was scared he wouldn't have a future. But the fear had curdled into anger. "This is the disease of your time," Jesus said, his voice filled with grief, the hardening of the heart. "You have forgotten that the person shouting at you is a soul I died for. You see enemies. I see children who have lost their way." He then guided me through a series of visions, each one peeling back the layers of the world I thought I understood. We appeared in a high school hallway. It was crowded between classes. I saw teenagers looking at their phones, heads down, shoulders slumped. To the naked eye, they just looked bored. But with the vision Jesus gave me, I saw the truth. Above each of their heads, there was a heavy, swirling fog. It was gray and suffocating. "Watch," Jesus said. I saw a young girl post a photo. Immediately, little glowing threads attached from her heart to the phone. She was feeding on the approval. When a notification came through, a tiny spark of light hit her, but it vanished instantly, leaving her colder than before. Then, I saw a boy reading a comment. The words on the screen weren't just text, they were like small, sharp daggers. I saw the dagger fly out of the screen and strike his chest. He didn't bleed blood, he bled confidence. His spirit grew dimmer. "They are drinking salt water," Jesus said, shaking his head. "They are thirsty for connection, but they are drinking from a well that only makes them thirstier. They are building their identities on sand, Raphael, and the tide is coming in." He walked through the hallway, and I followed. He reached out to touch a student's shoulder, but the boy was so wrapped in the fog, he didn't even feel it. "They cannot hear the quiet anymore. The noise of the world is too loud. It drowns out the spirit." The scene shifted again. We were in a corporate office. It was a high-rise building with a view of the skyline. I saw a man sitting behind a large mahogany desk. He was a boss. He was shouting at an employee, a young woman who was holding a stack of papers and trembling. I saw the man's heart. It was swollen and red, pulsating with stress and fear. He wasn't yelling because the work was bad. He was yelling because he was terrified of losing his own position. He was chained to his chair by thick, heavy iron links that represented his debt, his pride, and his need for control. Then I looked at the young woman. I saw a seed of bitterness planted in her chest right at that moment. She left the office, and I saw that seed start to grow. It turned into a vine of resentment. I watched as time fast-forwarded. I saw her go home and snap at her children. I saw the anger pass from the boss to the woman to the child, like a virus. "Do you see the chain?" Jesus asked. Pain gets passed on. It travels, unless someone decides to stop it, unless someone decides to absorb the blow and return mercy instead. He looked at me. "You were part of this chain, Raphael. When you treated a suspect with contempt, he took that anger home. When you judged a homeless man, you added weight to his burden. No act is isolated." We moved again. This time, we were in a hospital room. An elderly man was lying in a bed, hooked up to machines. The room was sterile and white. There were no flowers. There were no cards. The man was awake, staring at the ceiling. "He is dying," Jesus said softly. "But the tragedy is not death. The tragedy is that he is leaving the world without knowing he was loved." I saw the man's memories playing out like a film reel above his bed. I saw a life of chasing money. I saw him pushing people away to get ahead. I saw him choosing work over his children. Now at the end, he had a bank account full of numbers, but a room full of emptiness. "He built a kingdom of dust," Jesus whispered. "He won every argument, he defeated every competitor, and now he has nothing." Then the wall of the hospital room dissolved, and we were looking at a different scene. It was a small, cluttered kitchen in a poor neighborhood. A woman was making soup. She had very little. Her clothes were worn, but her chest was glowing. A warm, golden light radiated from her. I saw her neighbors coming to the door. She gave them soup. She listened to their troubles. She didn't have money to give, but she gave her presence. I saw the light from her chest jump to theirs. She was a generator of love. "She is rich," Jesus said, smiling. "She is one of the wealthiest souls on earth. She understands the currency of heaven. She knows that what you keep, you lose, but what you give away becomes yours forever." I felt a pang of shame. I had judged people like her. I had looked down on neighborhoods like this, seeing only crime stats and poverty. I had missed the gold. The vision changed again, and this time the feeling was heavier. The air grew thick and hot. We were standing on the edge of a massive canyon. It was deep and dark. On one side of the canyon stood a massive crowd of people. On the other side stood another crowd. They were screaming at each other. "This is the great division," Jesus said. His voice was stern now. I watched as people on both sides picked up stones. They wrapped the stones in burning rags of insults and threw them across the canyon. The air was filled with flying fire. When a stone hit someone on the other side, they didn't just get hurt, they got harder. They picked up bigger stones to throw back. I saw leaders on both sides, politicians, media personalities, influencers, standing on high platforms, handing out piles of stones to the crowd. They were shouting, pointing fingers, fueling the rage. They were building towers of pride, claiming we're the only ones with the truth. "They are destroying the bridge," Jesus said. "They believe they are fighting for right, but they are fighting for self." Almost said, they have made idols of their opinions. They have made gods of their political tribes. I looked closer. I saw that some people wanted to cross. I saw a man on the left side lower his stone and look across with sadness. He took a step toward the edge, wanting to reach out, but his own side turned on him. They screamed at him, called him a traitor, and forced him back into line. "It takes great courage to drop the stone," Jesus said. "It is the hardest thing a human can do. To stand in the middle of a war and choose peace. To refuse to hate when everyone around you is demanding it." He turned to me. "This is the world of 2026 and beyond, Raphael. The canyon is getting wider. The stones are getting bigger, Flael. If you continue to live by the law of us versus them, you will fall into the abyss." I felt a chill. I had been on that cliff. I had thrown those stones. I had believed that because I was a cop, I was on the side of good and everyone else was the problem. Then, Jesus showed me something that broke me completely. We were back in the dark alley where I died. I saw the car I had pulled over. I saw the man inside. I saw the moment before he shot me. In the vision, time froze. Jesus walked right through the car door and sat next to the shooter. "Look at him," Jesus said. I didn't want to. I wanted to hate him. He was the reason I was dead. He was a criminal. "Look," Jesus commanded gently. I looked. I saw a young man no older than 20. I saw his heart. It wasn't just black with evil, it was shattered. I saw his history. I saw a father who beat him. I saw a mother who was an addict. I saw a school system that gave up on him in the 3rd grade. I saw the fear in his gut. He didn't shoot me because he was a master villain. He shot me because he was a terrified animal who felt cornered. He thought I was there to hurt him. "I am not saying what he did was right," Jesus said, anticipating my thought. "Sin is real. Evil acts are real. But Raphael, if you only see the crime, you miss the man. You miss the wound." Jesus looked at the shooter with such profound pity that it hurt to watch. He is lost. He is in a cage of fear, and you approached him with a cage of your own. I realized then that I had approached that car with aggression. I had approached with an expectation of violence. I had contributed to the energy in that alley. "Justice is necessary," Jesus said, "but justice without mercy is just revenge disguised as law. You cannot heal the world by crushing it." The alley faded. We were back in the golden wheat field. The silence returned, but I was different now. I felt raw. My heart felt like it had been skinned. All the calluses were gone. I fell to my knees in the dirt. "I got it wrong," I whispered. "I got it all wrong. I thought I was the good guy." Jesus knelt beside me again. The sun was setting now, painting the sky in violet and rose. "No one is the good guy on their own, Raphael. That is why I came. You are all broken children trying to find your way home in the dark." He put a hand on my head. "But you can be a light. You can be a healer." "I don't want to go back," I said, tears streaming down my face. "I can't face it. It's too messy. It's too hard. Please, let me stay here. Let me stay in this peace." The thought of returning to the noise, the sirens, the hatred, the endless struggle, it felt impossible. Here everything made sense. Here I was loved. Jesus looked at me with a serious expression. "The peace is not a destination to escape to. It is a power to bring back." He stood up and pointed toward the horizon, back toward where the city would be. "Lisa needs you," he said. "Leo needs his father. But they don't need the officer. They don't need the judge. They need the man I am sending back." He paused. "There are people down there who are holding stones, waiting to throw them. I need you to show them how to open their hands. There are people building walls. I need you to show them how to build tables." "How?" I asked, feeling helpless. "I'm just one guy. I'm just a cop." "You are not just a cop," Jesus said firmly. "You are my son. And the way you change the world is not by force. It is by the small, quiet choices. It is in the moment you choose to listen instead of shout. It is in the moment you choose to forgive instead of punish. It is in the moment you choose to see the person, not the label." He leaned in close. His eyes were burning with urgency. "The darkness is getting louder, Raphael. The cold is spreading, but a single candle can defy the night. Go be the candle." He placed his hand over my heart. I felt a surge of heat like liquid gold pouring into my chest. It was agonizing and ecstatic at the same time. It was the feeling of being truly alive. "Go," he whispered. "And remember the wheat field. Remember the quiet. I am always there." I felt a shove. It wasn't violent, but it was absolute. I flew backward, blurring through the golden wheat, through the clouds, down toward the muddy orange glow of the city. Pain. It hit me like a freight train. My chest was on fire. I gasped, a wet, rattling breath. I was staring up at the ceiling of an ambulance. A paramedic was hovering over me, looking terrified. "He's back! I got a pulse!" she screamed. I tried to grab her arm to tell her about the wheat field, but I couldn't move. I had been clinically dead for 8 minutes. The bullet had missed my heart by a fraction of an inch, but the blood loss should have finished me. The ride to the hospital was a blur of lights and agony, but my mind was crystal clear. I wasn't thinking about the shooter. I wasn't thinking about the pain. I was thinking about the gray wall in my living room. I was thinking about the fog over the teenagers' heads. The recovery was brutal. Physical therapy, surgeries, nights of searing pain where I couldn't sleep. The doctors told me I was lucky. They called it a miracle. They talked about angles and ballistics. I just nodded. I knew it wasn't luck. It was an assignment. When I finally got released and went home, the house felt different, or maybe I was different. Sarah helped me to the couch. She looked tired, her face lined with worry. The old Raphael would have said, "I'm fine," and turned on the TV to zone out. Instead, I took her hand. I looked at her. I really looked at her. I saw the fear she had been carrying. I saw the loneliness I had caused. "I'm sorry," I said. My voice was raspy from the intubation, but it was the truest thing I had ever spoken. "I'm sorry for being a stone." She started to cry. We sat there for hours, just talking. I told her everything. I told her about the field, the traveler, the walls, the canyon. I watched the gray wall between us crumble. I watched the color come back into her spirit. A few weeks later, I went to the precinct. I opened my locker. I looked at the uniform. It smelled like the old life, like sweat and stress and adrenaline. I looked at the gun belt. I touched the badge. I couldn't do it. I couldn't put the armor back on. I couldn't look at people as suspects anymore. I knew that every time I pulled someone over, I would see their history, their pain, and their brokenness, and I wouldn't be able to be the enforcer the law required. I resigned. My captain thought I had PTSD. He said I was throwing away a career. He said I was letting the bad guys win. No, I told him, I'm just switching weapons. Now, I work with at-risk youth in the same neighborhoods I used to patrol. I work in a community center that sits right on the border of gang territory. I don't carry a gun. I carry a basketball. I don't wear a vest. I wear a t-shirt. I see the same kids I used to chase. I see the thugs and the delinquents. But I don't see them that way anymore. I see the fog over their heads. I see the daggers in their chests. I see the hunger for approval. I sit with them. I listen. I don't lecture them about the law. I talk to them about their value. I tell them they are not their mistakes. I tell them about the quiet place where they are loved. I try to be the table, not the wall. It's not easy. Some days are hard. Some days the anger on the streets is so thick you can taste it. I see the world sliding toward that vision of 2026. I see the polarization. I see people retreating into their digital tribes, throwing stones across the canyon. I see the coldness spreading, but I also see the sparks. I see a kid put down his phone and actually talk to a friend. I see a rivalry end because one person decided to apologize. I see the light in someone's eyes when they realize they aren't invisible. So I am talking to you now, to whoever is listening. I'm not telling you to quit your job. We need good officers. We need order. But Jesus showed me that the tool isn't the enemy. The hardness is. I'm asking you the question he asked me. What are you building? Are you building walls to keep people out? Are you judging the world so you don't have to feel its pain? Look at your life. Look at your dinner table. Are you present or are you just a body in a chair? Look at your phone. Are you connecting or are you drinking salt water? The battle for this country, for our souls, isn't happening in the voting booths or the courtrooms. It is happening in how you treat the person you disagree with. It is in the choice to forgive the driver who cut you off. It is in the choice to listen to your spouse instead of shutting down. It is in the refusal to let the world turn you cold. He showed me the future. The coldness is coming. It is trying to turn us all into stone. It wants us to be efficient, numb, and divided. But you have a choice. Drop the rock. Open your hands. Look people in the eye. And in the chaos of this angry world, find the quiet place. Talk to him. He isn't afraid of your mess. He isn't impressed by your armor. He is waiting for you on the road with dust on his feet and love in his eyes. He is real. And mercy is the only thing that works. Don't let your heart turn to stone. Choose love. Start today. Start right now. The wheat field is closer than you think.